Hey guys, here we are at the end of my Valentine's eyeshadow palette declutter series, and I'm excited to share with you whether I chose to have my romance rekindled with these palettes or whether it's time to break up. So I'm very excited to see what you guys think, if I did what you thought I would do or what you thought I should do. That's the fun thing about makeup. It's all a matter of opinion. There might be things here that I don't like that you're like, are you crazy? I would love that. And there might be things that I'm like, oh, I love this and want to keep it, that you're like, why? You know what I mean? Like, it's makeup. It's not that serious. So that's what's extra fun about it, right? If you have not seen the videos that I used these different palettes in, I have a playlist that I will link up here. It also has this series from last year, but you can obviously tell by the dates. Maybe you want to watch last year's too. Actually, some, or maybe just one, I think maybe some of these palettes were in last year's also. So you'll see if they made it past a second round or if they're out the door. So let's just go ahead and get into this. The first palette that I used was the Maybelline Soda Pop palette. These are the colors. I pulled out some different palettes with colors that I thought were similar, but I swatched them and they were not. I had great feedback from you guys on my look from that palette. I have to say I loved that look as well. And it just made me happy every time I looked at it. And that's an important part of knowing if you are enjoying your makeup or not. And so after all of that and thinking, maybe I won't keep it because a lot of the colors are, you know, neutral colors, whatever. This purple, this grape soda, or grape pop rather, is what did it for me. I do not have that shade in any other palette. And so I very much enjoy that shade. I feel like it's very pretty on my eyes. And for that reason, and because I do like to take this traveling with me sometimes, it's a great compact palette and I'm not worried about anything happening to it really, I decided that the romance is rekindled. My sweet little Soda Pop palette is sticking around. Did you think I was going to choose that? I bet most of you did. So next up was the NYX Off Tropic palette. Looks like this. These are the colors. Fun, summer. I mean, when I look at this, I just think summer, right? I have done a few different looks on my channel with this particular palette. And the last one I did was, it ended up having a watermelon kind of vibe to it, if you recall. And then I used my pink liner that was also from the Off Tropic line, and used that, and I ran that on like along the upper edge of my lash line there, and I felt like that really brought the look together. It's time to break up with this palette. It takes way too much work to get it to do what I want it to do. The pigmentation just isn't there. The shadows are very chalky seeming. They're just not, the shimmers are not vibrant. There's just, I have most of these shades, if not all, in other palettes that I like the formulas better. And so I feel like this just doesn't really deserve a place in my collection anymore. Yeah, it just doesn't do anything for me. So this, I'm breaking up, and this will be going to one of my sisters or nieces, and I know they will enjoy it. The next palette was the NYX Machinist Grind palette. Now this one is a nice plastic, where this one's just a cardboard. And this one, the other one does not have a mirror. This one has a huge, the whole, I'm not going to show it to you because then you'll just see everything. No. It has a huge mirror that takes up this whole thing here. So it's gigantic and it's a very nice mirror. And then these are the shades. This is grungy wonderfulness. I love, 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 love this color story. I think it's awesome. I was definitely drawn to it. But the funny thing was, I discovered, and I showed in the video where I used this palette, that the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette is extremely similar in color story, which is probably why I chose this palette, because at the time when I got this, I did not have that palette. Actually, my cousin Debbie, Debutante, she sent me that palette. She asked me if I would be interested in a couple things that were gently used, and I was like, absolutely. And she sent me that palette. So then when I had that in hand and looking at it with this one, they are very similar. So it makes sense that I was drawn to this because I've always, like, I loved the look of the Subculture palette and really wanted it. So that just makes sense that I would have chosen something that was similar. Very strange. The shimmers in here are a little finicky. Like, most shimmers work better with your finger almost every time. The green, no. Like, was it the green that I was trying to put on with my finger and then ended up with a brush was better? I think so. And then like whatever another shimmer that I was using was better with my finger. And I don't want to have to think that hard. I don't want to be like, oh, to use this palette today, I need to use a brush with this color, but my finger works better with this one. But I don't know. It just, that to me is annoying. And since I already have very similar colors and in some other palettes too, between the Subculture and some other palettes that I have, very similar color story, I'm thinking it's time to break up. I think this palette was a great like idea. I'm sure that was probably what they were pulling from, was, you know, probably duping the Subculture palette a little. But the shadows just do not perform well. It takes so much work. The green that I did in my crease and everywhere is this dark green, or I guess I did it at my outer corner. So patchy. Oh, it was so patchy. I had to blend and add back and blend and blend. It was just terrible. So no thank you. I've got way too many great palettes with great formulas to spend my time like messing with something like this. So I am definitely letting this one go. And I would say my experience with NYX shadows is not good. I had the, it's like Rising Phoenix or something. It was a little, either it was 5 or 6 shadows, one of like the long skinny ones. I got rid of that a while back because it was terrible. It was so dry and just the color payoff was terrible. I gave Katie from Tattooed Mama, I gave her the one that was like the neon kind of color ones. It was terrible. She ended up getting rid of it because it just doesn't perform. So I personally have no interest in trying any more NYX shadows because the 3 palettes that I've tried have not been very good. So just saying, if you're starting out with makeup and trying to figure out what kind of, or you know, what brand of shadows to use, I do not recommend that. You're much better off Profusion, fantastic. It's very inexpensive and the shadows perform great. Yeah, that is just not, no. All right, so the next palette was the Maybelline Lemonade Craze palette, which I got this before I got the Soda Pop palette. And when I had seen this come out, I was instantly drawn to it because of the yellow. Now my collection was much smaller then. It was when I was just starting out. And so I had nothing like that. And so I was just super excited about it. And I really liked this pink. And I just thought all the shades, like these shimmers, I don't know my dang face in there. These shimmers do have a little bit of like glittery fallout. No big deal. If you use a glitter primer or something like that, it wouldn't happen. But usually it's so light, and I typically wear these kind of palettes, or this palette anyway, in the summer, so I don't really mind it. That's just something to be aware of. But like I've hit pan on this shade. I mean, I've really used this palette, almost hit pan on this one. It's just, it's been a good palette to me. Then I started looking through and I'm like, you know what? I have a lot of similar shades in a lot of other palettes. Like I showed several Profusion palettes that I have that have similar shades in them and things like that. So then I really was focusing on, okay, what's the look? What did the look turn out like that I did with this palette? And going back through my collection, do I have this yellow? Because that was what I was drawn to. And I mean, did I like it when I used it again this time? And do I have it somewhere else? And truthfully, that was kind of it, because I do like the cohesiveness of this palette. I think it creates pretty looks. So my main thing was that yellow. Well, I have to tell you guys, the look I did that day, I loved. I did more of like a spotlight eye with the yellow in the center. It was more of a matte look. For you who watched it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And every time I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror that day, I loved it. I was like, I love this look. I love it. So like I said, I started going through looking to see if I had a yellow like this in any other palette, and I do not. I have lots of yellows, but nothing quite like that. And given the fact that I love the way this palette works together as far as color story, and again, it being compact, easy to take with me, and not something I'm worried about something happening to because it's not a really expensive palette. The romance is definitely rekindled with this palette. I am so happy to have this palette, and these two together, you guys, they're a little dynamic duo. I enjoy them very much. Are they like the most phenomenal shadows in the world? No, but I do really like them and get a lot of use out of them. And then the final palette. If you didn't watch that video, you can tell by the look on my face what's about to happen. If you did watch that video, I would just like to say that I added a different matte shadow to the outer part of this look and added a little something extra on the lids just to try to do something better so I don't have to wash this look off and redo it before I leave the house because I'm leaving again. And I already had makeup on once today that I loved the eye look, but then came home and cleaned it off to record this look and record this video you're watching right now. And I don't really feel like washing it all off and doing it again. Yeah. So it is the Touch in Sol Fill Up Orange palette. Like I said, I thought I would love this palette because I love orange. Oranges are my favorite shade to wear. Oranges and greens. And I have blue eyes, and orange pulls the blue like crazy. So if you have blue eyes, try some orange shadow. But orange and purple especially, those two seem to really accentuate blue eyes. I can see my lashes are stuck together right there, and that's driving me nuts. But anyway, let me show you the shades. They look like this. It's mostly browns, not oranges. There's like technically maybe 3 oranges, I guess, if you could call this orange. I'm not a big glitter person. It's messy to me. I don't like dealing with taking it off. It's not my thing. Now, my cousin Debbie, she rocks glitter like it's nobody's business, and she looks amazing doing it. It's just not my thing. And so, like, I know she would do great things with this glitter, but I'm not going to send her this palette because I know she's got way better glitters and everything else than this. So, yeah, I did not even take out other palettes to compare the shades with to see if I had similar ones because, duh, who doesn't have, I mean, if you have a makeup collection at all, who doesn't have these, you know, brown shadows? I've got plenty of beautiful orange shadows, and I've got a hair out of place. Oh, everything's driving me crazy right now. This palette, I'm not even kidding, irritated me. I'm like noticing myself being slightly irritated ever since I did this look. And I think it's just, I don't know, I just felt like I expected more out of it when I saw the palette, and like, it's very easy to get drawn in by 1 or 2 shades. So that is something I would say when you are looking and you see something and you're like, oh, I want that palette. I want it. Like, I love the colors, whatever. Really, really look at it. What is drawing you in? Is it 1 or 2 colors? And then look around it. Are the other colors all things that you already have? Or maybe those 2 colors things you already have, but they just look different because of where they're laid out in the particular palette you're looking at. It's so easy to get wrapped up in something because it's like there's 1 or 2 shades that really, like, you know, catch your eye. This is one of those types of palettes where I'm like, ooh, like orange, I love orange, and ooh, the sparkle of the glitter. But then when I really look at it, no thanks. And I don't know if this is supposed to be a highlighter, maybe. I hadn't even touched it. It's right there. It's way too orangey for me to be a highlighter. Because otherwise, like, these shades right here are all almost exactly the same. So I don't even understand. I think this is like one of the worst curated palettes I've ever seen. It's just boring. There's like no dimension to it. The only dark shade is a shimmer. So it looks terrible and patchy when you try to use it to darken up your outer corner. It's just no good. I don't like this palette at all. If you have it and you love it, that's fantastic, and I'm glad because you must be able to work with it in a way that I cannot. So yeah, for that reason, I'm breaking up. So how do you guys think I did? Little quick recap. Breaking up, breaking up, breaking up. Romance rekindled, romance rekindled. So I'm only keeping 2 out of 5. I got rid of over half of the 5 palettes that I had in the series. And I'm feeling pretty good about it because I feel like I gave them a fair chance. And, you know, between the look that I did and comparing them with other things that I have, I feel very confident that I'm letting go of things that just don't really have a place anymore. and let's be real, making room for things that do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this series. Like I said, I got such great feedback from you guys, and I really enjoyed that, and I can't wait to hear down in the comments what you think of what I chose. And I just appreciate you guys so much and had a lot of fun with this. Please let me know different video ideas you might have that you would like to see me do or anything like that. I would be happy to do it. And I'm just excited. I want to try to incorporate a few new things. I have my first Stitch Fix coming up, so I'm excited to try that. I wanted to try it for years, so I'm really excited to see that and see how it goes. So stay tuned for that, and it will be a try on too. Because I don't feel like they're boring if you just show the clothes. I want to do a lot more of that, like with my hauls that I've showed you guys, like my massive shopping haul on all those clothes. I really want to be able to do like a good try-on video of a bunch of those clothes and stuff for you. I might split it up in a few things because I got quite a few things. But stuff like that those are my favorite videos to watch, are hauls, try-ons, and then, you know, different makeup type things, obviously. But so yeah, I am just excited to try out a few different things, and would love you guys' feedback on what you would like to see, what you enjoy. I also am doing a couple like cleaning, decluttering my house type videos. I know a lot of people for their channels, they only want to stick to one genre, and I get it. Like some things, it's like in order to make your channel really get in the algorithm, I guess, it's like you kind of have to stick to one thing. That's not me. I would get bored and burned out. There's no way. So I am just going to, this channel is never going to be about numbers or yeah, it's just not. It's going to be about doing the things that I love and sharing them with you guys. And like I said, if there's things you would like to see, I would love your feedback. And because if it's stuff that I enjoy anyway, I want to be able to do that and, you know, give you guys some viewing stuff that you would enjoy. And so yeah, my channel is always going to be about what makes me happy, what brings me joy. Because if it doesn't, I'm not going to want to do the channel anymore. What would be the point? So thank you guys so much for always being so awesome. And I hope that you have an amazing Valentine's Day, whatever you're doing. If you don't have a Valentine, guess what? Doesn't matter. Doesn't. Valentine's Day is not really that big of a deal. Let's be real. But just be thankful and think about the people in your life that you love. Valentine, it doesn't have to be about like a romantic thing. Just think about love, your family, all that good stuff. And do something special to pamper yourself today, because you need to love yourself too. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.